It's your favorite social media coach, Tramel Howard. Coach Mel in the building with your favorite cool uncle, Uncle Flood, and they're going to take you inside the game. So sit down, relax, get your favorite beverage, and hang as they take you across the SWAT, especially in Southern University football and professional sports as they talk Monday Night Football here on Inside the Game. All right, let's get into it.
What up, Unc? How are you?
I'm good. What's happening? What's happening? I got one ring on. I was hoping to have two, but I got one ring on.
Yes, I am also happy to have one ring on. Welcome to another edition of Inside the Game. Today we're going to talk all things, all things rings, all things no rings.
Yes.
So what do you want to take on first, Unc? Should we start with the highs or should we start with the lows and end with the highs?
Well, first, I would like to start with just congratulations to the Southern University women's basketball team. The Jaguars went in there and did what they were supposed to do as the number one seed, got to the championship game and dominated the championship game. So shouts out and kudos to them as they head out to California to take on, I think it's the University of California at San Diego in the first four game.
Yep. That's all the things. So let's just start with the good stuff. Coach Funches and the Lady Jaguars went to Atlanta, and to your point, did what they were supposed to do. I think that there was an energy from Lady Jaguars this week that was good to see. I mean, from the very first game, to your point, to the very last game, they did what they were supposed to do. And so, like, with that being said, I think today we'll be giving grades. So obviously, I give the Lady Jaguars a A+. I mean, they went out, they dominated, they played tough competition all season long, and they did what they were supposed to do. I mean, people, still have been doubting Coach Funches, but I mean, he's continuously proven himself over and over again. So shout out to Coach. So what's your grade for the Lady Jaguars this season?
I gave them an A in the tournament because it's a hard way to go when you come in as a number one seed. They fought all season. They took some setbacks, came back, got the number one seed in the tournament, and then went into the tournament and won from the number one seed. That means you had to beat some teams that you have beaten before. A lot of times that's hard to do. And they were able to do all of those things. I am one of those people. I've always given I like Coach Funches. I think he's a great guy. I've always given him a hard time because I always thought, and I still feel this way somewhat, that he plays just to win the SWAT. And I look at his teams, and they always seem to be more talented than that. And that's why I give him a hard time. I don't doubt he's a great coach, a great motivator, a great strategist. I think he just I don't think he has high enough expectations for himself and his team. And this year, though, I felt like in that tournament championship game, I saw something else. I saw a higher expectation and a higher level of execution. And kudos to him, his coaching staff, and his team.
Yeah, no, I think that's it. I think that this team specifically, they play with a lot of energy. I think what I love the most about this team, which is what I haven't seen from our teams in the past, is on the defensive side of the ball. They are smothering. I mean, they are literally coming around every screen, helping on defense. It's literally like people from other schools like, man, those girls play suffocating defense. And I think, man, this tournament, they turned it up a notch. Like, they were all over the floor. And so I really just shout out to your point. Kudos to Coach Funches. Lady Jaguars will play, to your point, Wednesday, March 19th, 8:00 p.m. In Los Angeles, California. So if you're in the Los Angeles Bay Area, go out and support the Lady Jaguars. I believe. Oh, go ahead. No, I was going to say I believe.
I was going to say one of my old broadcasting mentors used to say Los Angeles, California.
Yes, that all of those good things. I think that we have a chance to win this first four games. I mean, it is going to be an uphill battle after that against UCLA because, I mean, they're one of the most dominant teams in women's basketball. But I really hope that the Ladies Jaguars, because we've been in, I think was that a couple years ago, we was in the first four game against Stanford, and I forget who we played, but we should have won that game Like we should have won the game. We were leading it all the way up until basically the end of the game, and then literally in the second half, just threw the game away. So,
well, and that goes to my point about I want us to attack the UC San Diego, and just like you talked about in that last game, we attacked that team initially like they were anybody else, like any other team, any other SWAC team that we would play, and then all of a sudden, it looked like they started overcoaching, and we got completely out of the game, and it ended up being a walkaway. I want us to play UC San Diego the same way we play Alcorn or Jackson State. I want us to be tough, tenacious, play hella defense, knock down the threes. I want us to play them the same way. That's all I ask.
Yep, UC San Diego comes into this game with a 20-15 record, also fighting for that 16 seed, just like us. Go do it, Lady Jags. I mean, literally, go do it. Literally, go get it done. I think that we can. Like I said, if you're in the Los Angeles area, the game is at 8 o'clock our time, 6 o'clock LA time. Go support, show up. I think that's one of the things that I would shout out to the Jaguar Nation who showed up in Atlanta. It was incredible. The atmosphere in that place was incredible. I think the SWAC has found its home for the SWAC basketball tournament. They have signed a 5-year agreement. The energy in Atlanta was what I've always longed for the tournament, and it was there. I mean, from beginning to end, women's, men's basketball, that arena was perfect for what we got going on here in this SWAC. It's an arena that's set up where you can see the game no matter where you are. So if you're in the corridor getting a drink or getting ice cream or funnel cakes or all the treats they had or shopping or whatever you're doing, you can see the game. The people showed up. They were loud. They were into the game. It was perfect. It was literally perfect. I mean, I have no qualms about that arena. They have hotel rooms like in a circular where you can walk to the arena. And if you don't live in those hotels, there's hotels close by, like literally all the things that people have been complaining about over the years. They've accounted for it from point A to point Z. The only thing that I think could be better is local marketing, but I think that there's plans in place to get more local people involved with what's going on. But literally, shout out to the SWAC, shout out to all the people who Birmingham is terrible. Miss Burnett, Birmingham was just not good. I mean, we made it to what it was, but it was not a good host city. As it relates to the energy and the atmosphere in the building, the arena that we played in. Birmingham don't compare. Birmingham can't lay a stick to what just happened in Atlanta this past week. So shout out to the SWAC for getting this right. I talked to so many people this week who just really appreciated I think it was more so about just the arena. The arena just was perfect for what we needed it to be. And that men's championship game was on fire. Literally, the men's championship was on fire. To Brittany's point, you didn't need to leave out of College Park to anything. You literally could eat there. I mean, I have nothing. I'm impressed. I just got back today. That's how impressed I was. So I extended my stay. Yeah, it was a great time.
Everything I've heard about it, I mean, I've heard no complaints. Everybody that I talked to who attended have had rave reviews. Everything from the arena to the location to the convenience of it, the atmosphere in the arena. Everybody that I've talked to who attended had positive things to say about it. And that's a very unusual thing that everybody, if you talk to multiple people like that and they all have good experiences and different experiences. Not everybody's experience was the same. It was a different experience because I talked to some people who were local, who were commuting back and forth, and they were saying that the commute was good. Like you said, you could eat and then go to the game. It wasn't expensive to park, things like that. Then I talked to some people who flew in, who were from visiting teams, and they were like, hey, the hotels were convenient. Every food was convenient. The arena was great. So this seems to have been a home run for the SWAC.
Yeah. I mean, and I think about just the things that they've been doing for like entertainment, the giveaways, like as the days went on from Wednesday, to Thursday to Friday, it just got better and better and better. Like they really seem to be very thoughtful about who was performing, the energy, the consistent DJ, the shopping experience, the food options. Like it seems like they really put some thought into making sure that they got it right. I believe for what the CIAA used to be when it was in Charlotte. I think that we can rival it in many ways, where people just literally come out for a full experience, not just basketball. And that's a lot.
That's the big step. It was only one disappointment. Well, it was two disappointments for me, and one of them is obvious, but one that wasn't obvious. My man 2 Chainz was there, but there was a disappointment for me having him there. He only had on 1 chain, and I was very disappointed.
You know, I noticed
when your name is 2 Chainz, there's a certain expectation that I have of you when I see you. I need to see you in 2 Chainz whenever you go out in public, okay?
No, 2 Chainz. I just realized he definitely only had on 1 chain, and that is crazy. 2 Chainz has allegiance to Alabama State, so but
yes,
he also apparently, according to people in the city of Atlanta, he owns or he's part owner of the Gateway Arena. Now, I don't know how true that is, but
I know he's part owner of the Dream. I know he's a part owner of the Dream, the basketball team that for the women's basketball team plays there. Yeah.
Yep. So I mean, also Shaq showed up. As we know, his son plays for FAMU. I mean, it was just great. I mean, Tracy Steele was the host. I mean, all the things. I have no quorum. So mark your calendars for 2026 to get your PTO early to spend a week in Atlanta or a few days in Atlanta. At least come for the weekend. I mean, the SWAC. Shout out to the SWAC. We give them a hard time about a lot of things. But I found out so much just valuable information. It's about the conference in general, and I think that we're in a good place. The conference itself is in a great place, and I hope that we can help on this show to tell more of that story.
Yes,
as time goes on, just where the conference is from a financial to a revenue. We don't talk about it enough.
I know this is one of people don't realize probably over the last 5 years. This has been one of the most successful conferences in America, from realignment to revenue to branding, all of those things. This conference has really done a good job. It would be hard pressed to name a conference of its size that has done a better job with the commissioner and his staff. Shouts out to Commissioner McClellan and his whole staff for what they've been able to do. And I know we have all these social media commissioners and athletic directors who swear that they know what they're doing, but they can't even make a decision at their own job, but they're going to tell everybody else what to do at another job. But when you really look at the numbers and the facts, the commissioner has done one heck of a job, and the SWAC is in a really good place right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking I will to bring the experts on to kind of really talk about it. But one of the things that I talk to them about, we have to do more of getting this story out there so that people can understand what this conference is doing and the things that we get so comfortable in our experiences, and we miss the bigger picture a lot of times. And a lot of times we're just very opinionated, and we don't really rely on our opinions or root our opinions in fact or data or any metrics. We just get on the internet and start yelling and screaming with no true merit. And so really looking forward to helping the SWAC tell that story. So that's the positive side of Atlanta. Obviously, we just came onto the show with 1 ring, not 2 rings, as we hope for. First, I would like to say just shout out to Coach KJ in the men's basketball team for winning the regular season. There has been a lot of debate about who celebrates what should be celebrated. I don't care what conference you play in, winning any title, any championship is a difficult feat. And so those guys deserve to be applauded for the regular season championship that they fought all year long, not just a weekend tournament, but all year long to compete and win. So shout out to them for that. On the contrary, we went out in the first round again of the SWAC tournament. So, Unc, tell us about men's basketball.
This is kind of what the conversation that we had. And I said the first time we beat Grambling, I said I don't want to see this Grambling team in the SWAC tournament in the first round, because I have the feeling that's what's going to happen. They're going to win enough games, and they're a good enough team. They don't hit a lot of shots, but they're a good enough team defensively. They play hard, they're scrappy, and they're always going to be in the mix. And I said I didn't want to see them in the first round of the SWAC tournament. After we beat them the second time, I knew it. I was like, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a season. We get to the first round, the brackets come out, and who we're playing? Grambling. And it is just ironic that Southern will have its worst game of the year in that game against a rival, a third time playing them on a neutral court. It was almost written already before it even happened that they were going to lose that game. And I said that if they got past that game, they would beat everybody else, but they had to get past the first game, and they just couldn't find a way to get by it.
Yeah, a couple things. When Alabama A&M was playing Grambling, I have never rooted so hard for Alabama A&M because the March Madness and these tournaments are literally about matchups. Like, we can beat Grambling. We just, as it relates to a tournament matchup, is not a good matchup for us, especially in the first round. And it's not about talent. It's not about anything other than matchups in those tournaments matter. And when we got Grambling on the first day, I was literally sick walking to the arena for the game because to your point, I just felt that it was going to be one of those games. And at some point, we did get a substantial lead on Grambling. And I was telling my friend on time, and she was like, "Oh, the game." I'm like, "Just no, it's never over until it's over." And also, I think that one of the things that what I would be critical of Coach KJ and staff about. Is I feel like when we got up, like we've done before, we got super, super conservative on the offensive side of the ball. It's almost like we were playing high school ball, like we were getting this isolation, running the shot clock out, but not really moving no offense and not scoring.
Yes.
Grambling caught a fire from the 3-point line, and it was back-to-back threes. And you look up, and they were actually up by 1. And so, that's what I would love to hear your take on, just, the grade of the season, and then the grade on that performance in that final game against Grambling.
I thought the grade on the season was a B. I thought they had some opportunities where they really could have won. They won enough games. They were 14-3. But even the games that they lost, they had opportunities to win. And there were some games that they made close that they shouldn't have been close. They had several games where they had double-digit leads, and they gave up those leads. Like we saw in that first round against Grambling, they had a 13-point lead. Gave up the lead because I felt like they got too conservative. I feel like that sometimes they go away from their strengths when they get a lead. And I also feel like it was just something about this game. They missed, if I remember counting right, they missed 6 point-blank layups.
Yeah.
Before it had been free throws. Now it became layups. And it was one time they went 3 times back-to-back right at the rim and missed the layups. So it was this is one of those things that I don't want to say they weren't prepared for the big game, but I thought with all the things, this was a very good team, not a great team, because good teams play well when things are going their way, but they don't play well when adversity is hitting them. And this team was a mixed bag. Sometimes when in the right circumstances, when they met adversity, they met it head on and they were able to come out on the other side. But a lot of times they didn't, and this was one of those times where they just couldn't get past the adversity.
I thought once the game went into overtime, I said, "Lord, you have created a path for us to win this game." Yeah. First of all, the way that ball fumbled around the court and tipped back up and Brente got open for that was just insane. It was complete mayhem in the arena. But I do believe, similar to you, I would give the grade a B. I think that what Coach KJ has been able to do with, like this, in many cases, what you call a makeshift team, has been great. And I do believe that in the moment the moment did get too big for us. And that happens when you have different pieces that you're pulling together. And so to Rube's point, I do believe too, if we can keep a lot of the players in this team together, they have the potential to be really good, and not just really good in the SWAC. I truly believe that we would have scared somebody in March Madness for sure. And in many cases, had we went all the way through it, a lot of folks, experts, said that we wouldn't even have to play in a play-in game for sure. And so, like, I do believe that they're building something solid. And I hope that this moment in time was a learning experience for everybody involved, players included, that you can't take anybody lightly, especially in a tournament like this. And not to, flip sides, but we saw it on the girls' side. Alabama A&M came in winning 20-plus games. Alcorn hadn't won but 8, and it seems just like Texas Southern.
Alabama A&M was the biggest fraud in all of college basketball. I kept telling people that, man. They won 20 games, man. That team was a fraud. That was all smoke and mirrors, man. All smoke and mirrors. I know people gonna be mad, but be mad. That was all smoke and mirrors, man.
Listen, I love Coach Dunn, so I'm not gonna Coach Dunn. If you're watching,
she's a snazzy dresser.
No, I do. But similar to the say, like in March, anything can happen. And so back to our boys team, like you have to be ready for the moment. And I think, and I also wish that there was a more of a, I don't know, we talked about this kind of last week, like a protection of your regular season champs, because we are one league bid. I mean, a one bid league. And so, like, when you coming up, and you talking about, all of this stuff about, protecting that, you literally can't. I mean, you coming out playing 3 games. I mean, it happens all across the league, but I would like to see the SWAC explore more, and then not just because this time it was Southern, but other teams who go out, compete, win a regular season championship, and then have to come out and do that in order to get the ultimate goal. But switching gears to that,
but just I wanted to hit this. I saw Shalana say that two of our key players who they were counting on, matter of fact, might have been two of our two best players, were out for the majority of the season. Frenchie. I can't remember. I can't pronounce his name.
That's so funny.
Everybody calls him that. Frenchie was out for most of the season, and there's another young man out with I think a back injury who was out for most of the season. So I think if you add them into the mix, I don't think this is even a close conference race. I think Southern was head and shoulders above everybody else if they're in the mix, and what they were able to do without their 2 best players does say a lot about Coach KJ and what they were able to do. I don't know about keeping this team together because of the portal, and I know we have some senior guys who transferred in. So I want to see as many of these guys come back, and I know Coach KJ is going to get in the portal again and find him some guys. But this is I think we have a good, solid foundation. With Coach Johnson. No,
I think that's 100% the case, and it behooves me how crazy fans can be sometimes, because some of the things that I read, I won't even repeat on this beautiful platform, because it's like, what are y'all watching? But to your point, people are commissioners, people are athletic directors from the beauty of their Facebook office, but when it comes time to real life decisions, they anyways. I think that but shout out to Alabama State. I think that once Southern went down, so one of the things Coach Mo said, Jackson State's coach. Now, Jackson State played FAMU the first game. We had already lost to Grambling, and then they played later on that night and they won. And so he tweeted, or he told somebody that Southern and FAMU that checkout was at 11. So I didn't think, I was like, what do we have to do with anything? We didn't play y'all. We ain't got nothing to do with any of this. So I never rooted for Bama State harder, as I said about A&M, than I did when they played Jackson State the championship game. So I was so happy to see that Bama State won. Again, great atmosphere. Bama State, I mean, they beat us all the times they played us this year.
Man, the lesser celebrity coach should never speak.
What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
You're the lesser celebrity coach, all right? Nobody knows that you're at Jackson State. You're the lesser celebrity coach. We don't need you to speak. You haven't won anything. You barely had a winning season. Did they even have a winning season this year?
What is wrong?
I'm just saying. Go ahead. Move ahead.
What is wrong with this?
I'm sorry.
No, Coach Price, I see you're coming in, and we're gonna get you on the show for sure. Talk all things March Madness. So
look, he asked you when you were gonna get him on the show. He knows that to ask me when I'm gonna get him on the show. He asked you, huh? I hear you, Coach Price. You can become a part of the action. You tell you how you can get on the show, Coach. Become a proud sponsor.
Yes, you can you can become a part of the action, but Coach Price, that's our boy. You could, we welcome all guests.
That's my guy too. That's my guy too. I just don't like, he seemed like he was circumventing me or something. I just wanted to let him know,
Unk is definitely out of control today. But that's most days. If y'all didn't know, behind the scenes, he's always out of control. But no. So Bama State went ahead, won the SWAC as a 5th seed. They beat who you needed to beat in order to get there, beat Texas Southern, beat the defending champs. Like, they really had a good run. And I think that hopefully they can, make some noise in the tournament. They are scheduled to play. Let's get this schedule out. They play in the first 4, and they play St. Francis of Pennsylvania tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow
at 5:40 on True TV.
Yes,
so Bama State, go get us on.
Go win that game. Go win that game, Bama State. We'll be rooting for you, and hopefully 2 Chainz will actually show up with 2 Chainz.
Yes, and if they win
that's the key. That's the key to this victory.
And if they win that, they will play Auburn over in the South region. Great story out of that championship. Our young lady DK and a young man from Alabama State were engaged recently. So she played 4 years at Alabama State, and transferred into Southern for her grad year. And they both won SWAC championships on Saturday. So I thought that was
congrats to them.
Congrats to them. Great family. Got an opportunity to meet their family while we were at the game. Great family, great humans. So go out and win a tournament game, both of y'all. I do like Alabama State too. Someone said, can we talk about the officials? And that's a great topic, and not just in basketball, but across sports in the SWAC specific. And give me your perspective of refereeing and officiating in the SWAC.
All officiating sucks. I watch enough sports to tell y'all. I watch the Big 12. The officiating, officiating is just bad right now. It really is. I watch the SEC. It's bad. So it's a trickle-down effect. If they are getting bad officiating, then we're probably going to get bad officiating too. And to the officials' defense, it's hard to officiate in today's game. The players are so big, so fast, so athletic. It's hard for them to keep up. It really is. And I think we need to start taking a look at more technology, how we can blend more technology while still keeping the flow of the game going and quick decision making. I think we need to start looking at that, because if you look across the board, I watch sports all day I was kind of prepared for this discussion because I had this discussion on another show earlier, and they were complaining about officiating in the Mountain West and the AAC. Tulane lost the game to Memphis on a terrible call. Officiating is just a hard thing to do, and it's getting worse by the year. There's going to have to be some research into how we can use technology to improve officiating, because if they're getting bad officiating at the best conferences, the kind of officiating that we're getting at the lesser conferences with the lesser revenue conferences. High school officiating is bad. Like Rube said, it's just bad officiating. And to all my people who officiate, I know you're doing the best job that you can, but it is a hard job to do in today's world.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I think about. And one of my really good friends is an official, and so we have this battle all the time about just officiating in general. And I wonder often, how do we get it, to your point, like more technology, or because it really is a thankless job, and I've done thankless jobs before, because you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But it seems like in so many cases there are like critical errors that literally officials make the difference. I mean, we saw it against our game against Alabama State. We've seen it in the tournament. There were some blatant calls that happened right in front of referees. That it's like, man, how did you like? He literally took 16 steps, patted you on the back, and then laid the ball up, and you just.
Traveling is not a part of basketball anymore. You could just forget that. Traveling is not a part of basketball. With the Euro steps and all the moves that have been created, nobody calls traveling anymore. If when you see a traveling call, it's like a shock, or you like completely shocked that a ref will call traveling in today's game.
Yeah. But yeah, no, and I think it's just to thank the job. And so technology will, it's not foul proof, but I do believe that it becomes a lot less human error when you have technology involved, as it relates to officials. But I mean, the officials always say, well, if you feel like you could do a better job, go officiate. I couldn't officiate because let me tell you something. The first time you coaches come in my asking questions, I don't have time for none of that. I'm get out. I'll referee one game and then they'll probably fire me because I couldn't do it. So
the coaches would want you out because you'd have a short whistle. You'd be throwing them out.
It wouldn't even be close. I mean, because some of these coaches are like, they out of control. Like, it's like, okay, bro, coach, for example, Mo at Jackson State, cry. Dante at Grambling, cry. I mean, every call is a cry. And so I love Kim Mulkey, but Kim Mulkey would be all up on the officials. Like, I'm like, Kim, that's wrong. Like, you're wrong in this matter. So I couldn't do it. So for the folks that do it, great. Look forward to it. In other news, there is rumors, Melle, about the recycling of coaches in our conference, per usual. So there is rumors, again, street committee, but I'd love to hear your take on it. There's talks that Alabama A&M is interested in Coach Dante for Jackson for their basketball program. There's also been conversation that FAMU coach has refused to sign his renewal not refused, but hasn't signed his renewal contract, and that he, was on walking interviews while at the tournament this past weekend. So what is your take on the coaching cycle in this way?
If I'm at A&M and I can talk Dante Jackson into taking that job, yeah, I go get him. I mean, I would definitely. That's a no-brainer. You go get him if he's willing to take that job. Now, if you're Dante Jackson, if it's a money thing, then I mean, it is what it is. Dollars make sense, and so. But I don't see why he would leave Grambling to go to A&M.
Yeah. Unless
it's about money. I mean, A&M has a new arena. There's a lot of great things going on at A&M right now. But, yeah. I mean, it would have to be a substantial check, increase in basketball budget, things like that. But in terms of A&M looking at him, I have no issue with that. If he's available and he's willing to talk, have at it. I say go get him. He's proven himself to be a very good coach. So,
yes. And other SWAC coaching news, our former beloved Sandy Pugh.
We forgot the FAMU. I forgot. I think the FAMU guy is being smart. FAMU screwed up. They screwed up. They were so mad with Tiffany Sykes. They decided that they wanted to screw that guy over, and now he's proven that he can win basketball games. And now he's like, "Now sit back and wait, or either y'all coming with the bag." Because I guarantee you, with the performance that he put on at FAMU, there are quite a few teams knocking at his door to get him where he needs to be. So FAMU is gonna have to pay up, probably more than they want to, but they're gonna have to do something, or that guy's gonna be somewhere else coaching. I wouldn't be surprised if some MEAC team came and scooped him up.
Yeah, he's a good coach, great energy. The tournament gives you an opportunity to see everybody in one setting all the time. And so he had great energy, great participation. Just really seems like a solid guy. Players seem to respond to him well. And so that's going to be interesting in the coaching cycle, per usual in the SWAC. Every sport has an interesting coaching cycle at the end of the season. And last thing in the coaching cycle, our former beloved Sandy Pugh resigned today from Prairie View A&M. Thoughts on Coach Pugh?
Beloved.
I said former.
Beloved. Okay, yes.
I like those, Sandy, but continue.
I'm with you. Yeah, she went from pennies to Benjis. That's if that's not the quote that has been my pet peeve for how. When did she leave? What, 7 years ago to go to 3D?
It's been that long?
Yeah, because Coach Funches has been the head coach at Southern for
Like
7 years.
Yeah. Wow.
So she left 7 years to go, and I'll never forget the tweet. This is what happens when you go from pennies to Benjis. I'll never forget. Well, this is what happens when you don't win. You have to gracefully resign. You have to gracefully resign. Shouts out to Coach Pugh. She's had a great career over the past 20 years. She won a lot of championships at Southern.
She did.
She couldn't replicate that at PV. But that's what happens when you go from pennies to Benjis, and then you take those Benjis and make pennies out of them. I'm not gonna let that go. I'm not gonna let that go, because that was not necessary. It was not necessary, and I hate to be petty, but that was not necessary for her to take the digs at Southern when she left to go to PV. Yeah. So it didn't work out. Shouts out to her. Great career overall. She won championships at Southern. She couldn't get it done at Prairie View. I shouts out to Prairie View for allowing a veteran coach who has won championships to gracefully disembark from the program.
Yes. I mean, there was some confusion. You know, I love to comment surf. There was some confusion in the comments. Like, it was very much so a graceful buyout, as opposed to Sandy Pugh, legendary coach, fired. So yes. They definitely took the high road. I believe, Rube, that Sandy is a Hall of Famer, and I'm just going based off of her career at Southern. Again, fit matters, and people often think just because you're successful in one place that you can replicate it at another place, and it just does not work like that. I think she's a Hall of Famer. I don't think there's any debate about that.
I think she's a SWAC Hall of Famer. I think that what she did at Southern, she literally created the foundation for Southern's women's basketball to make this program competitive for as many years as she was there. And she give her credit, she brought in Coach Funches as her first chair assistant, laid the foundation. He's been able to take that foundation and continue to be successful. So yes, she's a Hall of Famer in my book. Southern University Hall of Famer, a SWAC Hall of Famer. So, you know, kudos to her. Shouts out to her. Best of luck in whatever her future endeavors. Somehow I feel like she probably isn't done coaching. It just didn't work out at Prairie View.
You know, it's always interesting when people get to this part of their career. Like, I mean, I guess when you love something that is your passion, like, you don't want to, but I think I really always want in my mind for legends to go out gracefully in a way that, like, I think about Tubby Smith. Like, I'm a huge Kentucky fan, and like how Tubby Smith went from school. I'm like, bro, you were proving yourself. Go be with your family and enjoy life. But so many of them are interested in like continuing that coaching journey. And for me, I hope Coach Pugh just, like, you know, go retire. Like, you've proven yourself that you can coach basketball. Go enjoy your life and, you know, be a consultant or something. Or like, you don't get yourself a stress of being another head coach. But
I think it's hard for those coaches like that to give it up. You know, when they kind of almost as like a junkie. It's like basketball junkies. They don't want to give it up. They might say, oh, I'm done with it. And then after sitting out a while and they start looking at it again, and it just keeps calling them back in. It's hard for coaches, especially when you're in that in-between stage where you're maybe not in your prime, but you're not ready to call it quits yet. That's the hardest time. And so you still want to coach, you still want to be involved. And then one of the conundrums is it's hard for them to be an assistant after you've been a head coach for 20 years. So it's either you're going to be a head coach or you're going to be out of the game. And sometimes that's a hard adjustment.
Yeah. No, and Coach Price put in look at Pitino.
Rick Pitino,
yeah. And there was a graphic yesterday. He has won conference championships at like 6 major Division I.
Yeah.
Like insane. And so to think that, you know, and to your point, like, I think that fit matters. The timing for you going to whatever institution you're going to matters. And I believe that that's going to be interesting to see. But I want people to get their rest and go retire, be on the golf course, travel. This stuff is stressful. As a fan, it's stressful. So I can only
it definitely can be.
As a coach, like navigating all of that stress it's insane. But so we're gonna end our show early tonight. But before we get out of here today, couple of predictions, Unc. I would love for you to tell me it's bracket season, March Madness, men's predictions, women's predictions, and upsets. Go.
Let's see. By the way, this is brought to you by the Antoine Law Firm. Jarvis Antoine, hit him up when you guys get the opportunities. That special sponsor of the show is Antoine Law Firm. Jarvis Antoine, 637 St. Ferdinand, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 225-383-7800, the Antoine Law Firm. In terms of predictions, I on the women's side, my heart says South Carolina, but my head tells me USC. USC, I could see USC and South Carolina in the championship. That would be USC has to go through Connecticut, though, which is a tough matchup. I like UCLA, but something tells me USC is going to be right there playing for the title on the women's side. So it's just Juju and the guard play that they have always makes a difference in the postseason. South Carolina, their guard play can be iffy. They turn the ball over quite a bit. Although, they're just Dawn Staley in South Carolina. They're always going to be in the mix. But I'm going to say USC with a shout out and a heads up to Connecticut, because Connecticut is a very good 2 seed that can make it through. And usually on the women's side, the first or second seed is usually pretty chalk on the women's side.
Yeah.
On the men's side, oh man, I really don't. There are literally 12 to 15 teams who could win the national championship on the men's side. The SEC had a record 14 teams get in the tournament, and probably 12 of those 14 teams could win the tournament. Or University of Houston could win the tournament. I think that would, if I had to pick a team, I would say the University of Houston as the surprise shocker team. In terms of going and winning the championship, not them being there, not just the fact that they're very good, but I feel like with their experience last year that this team could possibly go and win the national championship.
I like it. Well, I mean, I don't like it because you didn't say nothing about any of my teams, but it was a thorough breakdown. Women's side, someone asked, Edwin asked, what about Duke and Notre Dame? I think
no.
No. I have liked what I've seen from Notre Dame, so I think that Notre Dame could catch some people sleeping on the women's side.
Yeah, I think they're a very good team, but this is the thing: it's the NCAA tournament, and so on the women's side, it pretty much stays chalk. Every now and then, it's an upset, but Notre Dame in my opinion, they're out of the top 5 or 6 teams. Notre Dame is number 6. They can't beat anybody above them, in my opinion. Duke is they're Duke. They're playing well, but they have to make it through South Carolina. They're the 2 seed to South Carolina. They're not going to beat South Carolina, in my opinion.
I never. Yeah, women's goes pretty chalk. So that's that on the women's side. I do believe Notre Dame more than Duke has a better chance to make it further in the tournament than Duke. I believe that I'm always rooting for LSU, so to at least make it to the second weekend and get lucky in an Elite Eight game. So LSU plays their first game Saturday at 9:30. So if you're in Baton Rouge, go support my girls. I'm a Kentucky basketball fan. I think the SEC has to find a way to win this thing. Florida was extremely impressive in the SEC tournament. But to your point, I think the men's race is literally wide open. Like I think this is going to be one of the best tournaments because there is no, in my opinion, there is no clear indicator of who is like. In the years past, we all knew UConn was going to pretty much find a way to get. This year, that thing is wide.
It really is.
like wide open. I'm looking forward to camping out in front of my TV, watching some of these games, and yeah, doing what we do best. So shout out to everybody for joining us today. Make sure that you like, subscribe, share on YouTube. I told y'all last time to send 10 people. So if everybody on here sends 10 people this link, we can grow the network of Inside the Game. It's been a great season 2. We look forward to continuing and bringing out more folks, more guests. If there are guests that you want to see on the show, hit one of us up. Inside the Game affiliate KTTP. Become a part of the action. That's the way you can become a part of the action. Rube, I'm sorry that your boss is coming to town on Thursday. It is March Madness. All bets are off. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Exactly.
Listen, keep your job, Rube, so that you can keep being a part of the action. Here's a special shout out to all of our sponsors, Regrow People. Amazing work. Thank you so much for all the work that you do here and in every other platform that you do. I mean, if you need something done for any entity from sports to education to whatever, Regrow People are your people. And so that's the way that you can come into contact with them. So it is 6:44. We said that we're in at 6:45. Last shout out to the Office of Enrollment Management. Always been supported since day one. Unc, take us out of here tonight.
If the man, by the way, Ever Flau'jae Johnson should be healthy for the LSU game.
She will be back
for the tournament. If the man upstairs says the same, we'll be back at the same time at the same place because, as always, we take you inside the game.